Vodacom Motorsport.
76 special and production vehicles converged on the Carnival City Casino complex for the final round of the 2001 South African National Off-Road Car Racing Championship. The Carnival City Casino 400 was jointly organized by the MSA Off-Road Car Racing Commission and the Koepel Club, and offered competitors all the luxuries associated with urban life, as well as a route that was as tough as any other in the championship. Multiple champions Appie Reiniger and Robin Houghton set the quickest time in the time trial and were first away in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser. But disaster struck within minutes of the start when they picked up a puncture that would drop them way down the field. Nissan crew Hannes Fobler and Wiley Harrington, who was standing in for Richard Leake recovering from back surgery, took advantage of the Toyota pair's misfortune and charged into the lead. Fobler and Leake won the Mitsubishi Barberspan 500 earlier in the season, but had been dogged by bad luck in the past 5 events. Visibility in the muddy conditions was a problem for all competitors, and rocks hidden in the mud took their toll. 30 kilometers into the race, Fobler picked up 2 punctures and would later pick up a third and be forced to retire. Teammates Neil de Villiers and Francois Jordan moved into the lead, with Neil Woolridge and Kenny Skolthammer in hot pursuit in the French-built Mareka Ford Ranger, but they too picked up a puncture. Another puncture further into the first lap forced them to fight their way back up the field. De Villiers and Jordan had a clean run in the Nissan hardbody Super Truck, but were under huge pressure from Mark Corbett and Juan Moore in the Class D Petronas Sinjum Isuzu. Corbett briefly took the lead, but a broken eye on a rear leaf spring saw him go from hero to zero in 60 kilometers. 2001 Special Vehicle Drivers Champion Franz Czepik Sr. and Philip Vosloo in the V-Motors Chenoweth had a firm grip on proceedings in the Special Vehicle category. Production Vehicle Championship leaders Bucks Carolyn and Henny Testega had gearbox problems with the Mitsubishi Pajero. Despite the problems, they managed to make up 9 places by the end of lap 1 and were second behind de Villiers. The muddy conditions made it difficult for all crews, and even the 4-wheel drive vehicles struggled. While Piet Hasbrook and Christo Bosch in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser, and Lichtenberg 400 winner Cliff Barker and Malcolm Hubert in the Barker Performance Products Land Rover made slow but steady progress up the mountainside, Atangmacher Ganeni and Mike Stangl struggled to get traction in the SAM Racing Jimco. Bosch was in line to win the Class D Co-Drivers Championship. Maurice Bahrain led Class B in the Top Trans Mighty Mag, leaving a gaggle of stranded special vehicles in his wake. Reiniger and Houghton picked up another puncture and were forced to slow their pace until they could take on new wheels at the service point. At the end of lap 1, they had moved up to 5th place overall.
How's it? What's the problem?
Huh?
What's the problem?
Just helping Duncan out.
Cape Townians Henny Lowe and Johan Bright are newcomers to off-road racing and always willing to lend a hand. This time to Nissan teammates Duncan Foss and Mike Griffith. MC Kutsia had got his Toyota Land Cruiser well and truly stuck in the mud. And Class B contender Henry Kirstein crashed heavily when a ball joint broke in his Sekorock Sandmaster. The lower reaches of the Sekerbos Run were littered with stranded 2-wheel drive special vehicles that just couldn't get sufficient traction. For many, their race would be run at this point of the route. At the end of the first 135-kilometer lap, Nissan crew Neil de Villiers and Francois Jordan, who were also in contention for the overall Production Vehicle Championship, were in the lead. A trouble-free run in the 3.5-liter V6-powered hardbody saw them 4 minutes ahead of Special Vehicle category leaders Franz Czepik Sr. and Philip Vosloo, who was standing in for an injured Franz Czepik Jr. The top 10 after 1 lap of the Carnival City Casino 400. De Villiers and Jordan, the overall and Class T leaders. Czepik and Vosloo, the Class A leaders. Hasbrook and Bosch leading in Class D, and Schroeder and Peckham leading Class E. De Villiers and Jordan were on a charge in the Nissan hardbody, and a 4th win of the season appeared to be in the bag. The 4 times touring car champion has shown many more experienced drivers the way home in only his first full season of off-road racing. There appeared to be no stopping Franz Czepik Sr. The veteran driver had won 6 of the 7 events this season in the V-Motors Chenoweth. On board with Carolyn and Testega, the gearbox problem persisted, and 2 punctures, one after a collision with Reiniger, did not help their cause. Reiniger attempted to overtake the Pajero in a turn, but the vehicles collided. The Toyota also picked up a puncture. Woolridge and Scoldhammer were clawing their way back up the field after picking up 2 punctures on lap 1. The Mareka Ford Ranger crew won the Tarka 400, finished 4th in the Caledon 400 after leading, and were contenders for victory in the Carnival City Casino 400. Henny Lowe and Johan Bright had assumed the role of Good Samaritans. Here they helped Eduardo Carrera out of a mud hole. Early Class D leader Niels van der Walt had alternator problems on the Renault Trucks Nissan and was forced to retire. Perky Buerta got his WPP well and truly bogged down in the mud, but there were no such problems for Vic Farquhar and John de Kock in the VW Beetle. Buerta struggled on. Henry and Maurice Zamatin have been consistent performers in the Class D Sony PlayStation Pajero this season and were well placed at this stage of the race. Paulo Piazzamuso and Scott Abraham had a torrid time in the Vacation Vans Jeep. Water on the electrics, a mysterious misfire, a broken front drive shaft, and a broken radiator fan blade cost them a lot of time and a place in the top 10. There was no stopping de Villiers and Jordan in the Nissan hardbody super truck. With the end of the second lap in sight, the storm clouds were brewing and more rain was predicted. Reigning production vehicle champions Neil Woolridge and Kenny Scoldhammer had moved up to 2nd overall in the Mareka Ford Ranger. Unlike the leading Nissan, the Ford had the fuel range to complete the race without a pit stop. Special vehicle drivers champion Chepik Sr. and Foslu had dropped a place to the Ford, but had a comfortable lead over Tang Makaganeni and Mike Stangl in the special vehicle category. The clutch on the Reinica Land Cruiser had failed and gears could not be engaged while the vehicle was stationary. This made matters difficult for the Toyota pair when stopping at Marshall Points. Pitt Hosbrook and Christo Bosch in the Castrol Toyota Land Cruiser had made great progress and were the new Class D leaders. The Class D co-driver's title was now within Bosch's reach. On board with Carolyn and Testiga in the Mitsubishi Pajero, the gearbox problem persisted. A third puncture 15 kilometers from the end of the lap forced them to limp to the service point with a flat rear tire. Manfred Schroeder and Jack Peckham had an outstanding run in the diesel-powered Mareka Ford Ranger and held a comfortable lead in Class E. Makaganeni and Stangl in the supercharged Porsche Jimco soldiered on in 2nd place in the special vehicle category and gained another place when they overtook the Ford. Reigning Class D champions Hein Grobler and Gerard Prinsloo had a consistent run in the valid value Nissan hardbody and were well placed in the top 10. Steve Weicheld and J.J. Kelly are newcomers to off-road racing and had acquitted themselves well in recent events in the ex-Woolridge championship-winning N1 4x4 Mitsubishi Pajero. The top 10 after 2 laps and 270 kilometers of the Carnival City Casino 400. Stay with us for more action from the final lap of the Carnival City Casino 400.